Alrighty. Let's wait for this to go live. We live? Can you hear me now? Alright. So, tonight we are building an Elenco XP-720K dual voltage power supply. One of the later projects I want to do in the future needs positive and negative voltage in reference to ground. If you don't know what that means, basically I need a 15 volt and a negative 15 volt supply. I do have a bench power supply that goes up to, what, 20 volts? I think. Not a very good one, it's okay. But I need dual voltage, it's only single voltage and I need dual. And so in order to save a little money, instead of buying a dual voltage power supply, I bought a kit. So I can make my own and save me a little money that way. So I actually have not read the instructions yet, though I do have my soldering iron ready, because I'm going to probably have to solder stuff. There's the instruction manual. And, oops, that's heavy. Of course it's going to be heavy because there's a big transformer on it. But even after, I bought this because I heard good things on some of like the EEV blog forums about it, and it seemed to have gotten good reviews on Amazon. And then just last month I saw in a amateur radio magazine that my dad gets, they had a review of it and it ranked fairly good. So there's all the piece of parts. That heavy rock is obviously the transformer that's going to get plugged into the wall. We'll put that up there. Half the case. The other half of the case, we got big massive heat sink. There's the PCB, which is fairly simple. Power supply nowadays are usually just a couple chips with some smoothing capacitors. And there's the rest of the case. Oop. And then give me just a sec, and I'm going to tweet out that I am live. I'll wait for that to load up. Heatsink over there, and we'll get the case out of the way because we're not going to need that for a while, I assume. Probably be the last step to put it into the case, or at least. I know, thrilling content. And alright, I think that's everything. Alright, so let's see. Let's take a look at the instructions here. Alright, parts list. Oh, parts identifier, so this is looks like to be a switch, heatsink knobs, strain relief, standoffs, fuse assembly, how to read resistors, how to identify capacitors, how to solder. So it looks pretty really beginner friendly. I'm not exactly beginner, but I wouldn't call myself expert either. Well, we'll start digging through parts here. Those are the front panel knobs. Gonna need those not later. More front panel knobs. Fuse. Let's adjust the light here a little bit. Fuses, potentiometers, knobs, that's more front panel stuff. Standoffs, nuts and bolts. There we go, some capacitors. Wiring, heat shrink. Oh, and they did include solder. Good, because I don't know where my solder is at. Those look like diodes, voltage regulators, and a transistor. More resistors, fuse thing, and a little, that's heatsink compound. All nice and sealed up, so we'll go through here, power supply. Where is he? Okay, I got glasses on. So, first step is put everything on the PCB. Now we got our PCB here. Let me grab my PCB holder here. Stuff in, flip it around, solder on the back. A little dusty there. Alright. So, figure we got to install the 1N 5400 diodes and spots D5, 6, 7, and 8. And here are our diodes. I am going to need some magnification. Hey, welcome to the chat. Oops, magnification on upside down. Alright. Whoa. Don't want to lose diodes. One in 5400. 1N 5400. You gotta make sure the stripe, because these are polarized. The stripe matches the stripe. Bend our leads over. Through the hole. And these are obviously forming a rectifier to help turn the AC into DC. Get those 4 smaller diodes out of the way so we don't lose them. Now we flip that over and solder them in. Oh. Alright. Don't know how well this you can see this. That's a little better. Wait for it to warm up. Yeah. Hot? Yep. Tin the soldering iron there a little bit. That's probably going to take a little bit to heat up because that's pretty chunky. Right, lead. There. Turn the temperature up a little bit on the iron. There we go. Yeah. That didn't work too hot. Yeah, that looks a little better. Not great, but better. Man, these things are taking a long time to heat up. There we go. There, that's what it should look like. As I get to the smaller diodes, smaller components, they should heat up quicker. I do have the iron set to about 400 degrees, so come on, get hot. Let's try retuning this. Let's clean up our tip here. Been a while since I used this iron. And oxide layer would slow down the heat transfer. Yeah. Alright, we're all swappy jaw. Those things are hot on the other side though. Alright, let's try this again. There we go. Get some flow going there. There. Well, let's crank her up to 450. Pump a little more heat into that thing. Not the prettiest joint in the world. That actually may be cold. Okay, don't touch that, it's hot. Jeez. These things do not want to heat up quickly. Now let's try this. Now, I don't like the look of that joint. We're going to reflow that a little bit here. Hopefully there's nothing wrong with my iron. You know, I may end up having to undo that one and redo it. Here, let's, put more of the heat into the lead than the pad. There, that's better. There we go. Those last ones look a lot better. This one still sucks. I'll have to unsolder that one later to redo it. But for now, we're going to cut the leads off, except for that lead on the bad one. Now, where did I leave my clippers? Okay, with those ones out of the way, let's see if we can refloat this a little bit. flux, it's not gonna. Well, not perfect, but it's better. I think I've said that before. Alright. Next step, we'll put the other smaller transistors, diodes over on this side, which is create another full bridge rectifier. Stripe up, stripe up. Alright. And that's probably for the 6-volt supply. The bigger ones are for the 15-volt supply. If you got any questions, don't be afraid to ask. If I don't know the answer, I will direct you to someone who does. One, two, three, up, down, up. Yep. And 4. Put them through, bend the leads over a little bit. Now keep them tight to the board. Tight-ish to the board. You don't have to be super tight, it's just for appearance sakes. Now, since these ones have a smaller lead on them, they should solder up a lot easier. I have to crank that back. Turn the iron back down to about 400. Yeah, there we go. Breathing that resin, rosin core, probably not the healthiest thing in the world for me. Probably shouldn't. I'm going to be doing more of this, so probably should eventually, though I've been doing it for years, and off and on for years, and never worried about it. No, probably for safety's sake I should buy a little fume extraction hood. Not hood, fan. I've even seen people make DIY their own out of computer fans. There, those look better. Nice and shiny. Nice and pure metal. There. Getting the hang of soldering again. Of course, my biggest problem with ever doing these electronics is I can't see for darn. I'm always having to do them under. It's pretty hefty magnification. There. So all the diodes are off. On. Next up, how about we do R1 and R2, 150 ohm resistor. Where were the resistors? Oh, there's the resistors. We got two blue ones, which are probably usually 1%ers, two brown ones. Oh, no, according to them, the color code is brown, green, brown, golds, and red, violet, gold, gold. So they're both 5%. No, gold is 10% resistors, all right? I do believe that is right. No, 5%. Brown is 5%. Alright, and since my color vision is crud, we will use the multimeter to figure out which is which. Let's see, 150 ohm. And I'll get the meter out here. Survey says, hold still, 144.6 ohms. So those are the 150s. These are supposed to be 2.7K. And what the hey? Meter says nothing. Is my meter goofed up? Measure these fine, right? Yeah, measured those fine. Why is it having a problem with those? Oh, 2.7 ohm, not 2.7K. No wonder why. I'll crank her down to 5.6 ohm. .4 ohm. This big one should be Did they send me the wrong resistors? Big one should be 18 ohm. 2.9 ohm. What the blinkin' blues and blankin'. Blinkin', blankin', blinkin', blinkin'. Alright, we're going to have to do a little pairing here. It does say red, violet, gold, gold. Red, violet, gold, gold. Yeah. Red, violet, gold, gold. Red, violet, gold, gold. Which should be 2.7 ohms. Meter says they're 5.3 ohm, which would be 5. Yeah. Let's check the bill of materials. Maybe there's a typo. Red, violet, gold, gold, 2.7 ohm, 5% quarter watt. Eight ohm. And it measures that. 2.8 ohm. I think my meter may be goofed up. Please plug it in the right place, yes. Now it's saying 0.7 ohm, which is still wrong. And those are saying 3.2 ohm. It could be because they're so low that resistance in the leads. See, now it's 3.1, and that's 3.1. There's some funkiness going on with my leads. Alright, so at least we know which one's which. R1 and R2 are the brown ones. These aren't polarized, so we don't have to worry about direction. Alright, 3 and R4 down here. Those little guys are quarter watt. Those are probably half watt, judging by their size. They're saying about a quarter watt. But this big bad boy, that guy, he's a 3 watter. And the big thing will be is make sure when I go to put in the big capacitors that you put the capacitors in the right direction, because if you don't, you can easily melt a 3-watt resistor if you put the capacitor in backwards. I ended up in one of my electronics classes back when I was going to community college. Me and my lab partner melted a 2-watt resistor because we had the capacitor in backwards. Alright. Now these should solder a lot more easily. Really thin little leads. Just got to heat up the pad and the lead, and we'll be good to go. Well, goodbye, whoever you were who never said anything in chat. Dude, come on. Heat up, baby. Well, these boards got some big thick traces, so gotta sink some heat into the trace too. Tin up the tip a bit there. All about getting enough heat in there. Yeah, see that? Didn't get enough heat in that one. It's all pebbly looking. Darn it. Do I have a solder sucker? Ah, that's really good. Let me see if I can find a solder sucker and get that solder out of there and redo it. Well, the answer is no, I can't find my solder sucker. Or even my desoldering braid. Once I get off stream tomorrow, I'll have to look for that stuff and fix that. I think I probably should have polished up my blade, my soldering tip before I started this. I just jumped right in, and it's been a long time since I used any of my tools. That's probably, the tip got a little rusted. And oxide will stop the heat from transferring well. Alright. That will definitely not work. These big thick traces really soak up the heat. I unplugged and replugged back in the iron just to see if maybe the connection had screwed up over time. I tried to force that. I don't know, something's weird going on. This has not been very successful so far. I'm usually not this bad at soldering. Crap. What the hell is going on? Well, this has been an overall disaster of the first order. Alright, why is my light on the iron keep turning on and off? This has been an unmitigated disaster so far. Yeah, just about any bad solder joints are the good ones. It shouldn't take that long to heat up a pad. Melts on the iron. I mean, the trace is pretty big, and the resistor's getting warm. The solder's not flowing. There, that finally went. Is that a good one? Or another cold one? It's another fucked up one. Damn it. I'm going to spend so much time redoing this whole thing. Maybe I should just call it quits for the night and figure out what's going on with my iron. Or press on. Ever forward, never learning. Alright, give it a 20 count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, pad is not getting hot at all. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that was hot. Still don't like the looks of it. It's all pebbly on the front. It's not nice and shiny. See, those two came out alright. More or less heat. More or less. Yeah. Well, less heat wouldn't work because then the solder wouldn't melt at all. More heat, but I don't know if there's something wrong with my iron or not. I haven't used it in a long time. Maybe I need a new tip. Because it will melt the solder pretty. Well, maybe not. Yeah, it melts the solder all right. Alright, we'll try a couple more, and if it doesn't start working better, we'll call it quits for the night, and I'll order a new tip for the iron. Alright, what next? Uh, 10 microfarad electrolytic. Ten microfarad, 24 volt, 85C. Alright. C1, positive, negative, negative stripe. And the light keeps blinking on and off on the iron. So we'll jump on Google here real quick and see what that means. I mean, because it's a good iron. It's a Hakko, HAKKO FX 888. Downside to being half blind. Can't read anything from halfway across the table. Well, it says blinking is supposed to occur, so I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Could be that these, because this is a power supply, the traces are big and thick, they're just sucking up all the heat. I mean, I got it. Crank her up to 450. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Big pads, lots of heat. Used to doing smaller work and not used to. And we'll just sit here for a minute. Literally a minute, we'll watch the time. That's 20 seconds. That's 30 seconds. Yeah, I jumped the gun again. Yeah, probably should order a bigger tip for it. I hadn't done anything like this in a while. Just kind of, I had the kit sitting around for a while. Figured might as well get it built. Now I got to find my solder sucker. Yeah, let's see. How'd that one look? Like poop. So we'll test the theory. If this one heats up quick and easy, then we know I'm not dumping enough heat into it. This is a lot smaller trays. Oh yeah, I love kits. I've been doing them on and off for years. Mostly off. Mainly because of monetary reasons. But I got a bunch of stuff. The whole reason why I'm building this power supply kit is I need a dual power, a project I want to work on a little later, and I got some of the boards and stuff for has op amps, so I need a positive and negative supply. And the only bench supply I have right now is single. Yep, there that one goes. Kinda. Fold up. And that looks ugly too. Alright. Oh yeah. We had a Heathkit local, but by the end they were just more interested in selling cell phones than they were in supplying electronics kit, and I live kind of in middle of nowhere, California, so it's not like I'm in a big city where electronic supplies places still exist. Heathkit was it. But you go in there and ask them for a capacitor and they stare at you blankly and go, "What's a capacitor?" Alright. So, I think we'll call that a night. Get a bigger tip for this thing. It's just the tip that came with it. Something we can dump a bit more heat in there with. Well, thanks for hanging out. We'll continue this next week. It shouldn't be this. Well, it could be the solder, I suppose. Let's see. It's the solder that came. Oh, it's lead free. No wonder. I hate lead free solder. Lead free solder sucks. Give me the poisonous stuff with the lead. Do I have some leaded solder? Let's check the drawers. Wire, nuts, bolts, jumper cables, wire strippers, big ass capacitors for another power supply for something else. Don't see any solder in the drawers. Is it up there where I kept the iron? Don't see it. Well, I guess I'll order a bigger tip end. Well, I don't find any regular solder. Yeah, too used to leaded solder. You probably have to crank that, for lead free, probably have to crank this sucker up to like 900. Oh, let's see. I'll ask the Google. Oh, Google says 220. What? Oh, that's reflow rates. Yeah. Well, let's try it again. We'll crank the heat all the way up to max. I'll try one more capacitor here and see if that does it. Positive, negative. 10 microfarad. 10 microfarad. Oh, that'll teach me to use the solder that comes with the kit. Alright, solder temps irons cranked to max. What, 900 Fahrenheit, 480 C? Well, that one did alright. Now, I'll look around. I know I have some regular leaded solder around this disaster area that I call my bedroom somewhere. Well, that worked better. They're shiny, they're not really pure metal. But yeah. I'll find the regular leaded stuff and my solder sucker and desoldering braid and fix this mess later. At least now I know what the problem is, and we can go about fixing it. So, 99% tin, copper, and 7% copper. Not even the stuff with some silver in it, and not nearly enough to do the kit. Well, thanks for the help. It was frustrating, but we'll try this again next week when I have time. Fortunately, I'm working a lot, so I don't have a lot of time for doing this kind of stuff. But at least I'm getting back into it instead of just sitting around staring at the computer all weekend. Good night. Thanks for watching.